Well, my own column this morning, I don't think I've ever had a stronger reaction to a column. The outrage, getting up to 2,500 comments. The one excuse that apologists give for Wong that I can see is 143 countries, including Australia, voted yes to this recognition, or getting the Security Council to recognise it. America will veto it, but anyway. Just 9 countries, including the US, voted against it, and 25 abstained, including Britain. And they say all this proves that Wong is right to vote yes, is she?
No, what this proves, Andrew, is that at the United Nations there is a built-in Arab-African majority. There are dozens and dozens of Arab and North African and other Muslim states. There is one Jewish state. So most nations at the United Nations make the same sort of tawdry, cynical calculation. They say, well, look, we're going to get 100 dislikes if we vote in favour of Israel and 100 likes if we vote with the Muslim terrorists. So let's vote with the Muslim terrorists. And a lot of governments know they're doing the wrong thing, but they go along to get along. It's the path of least resistance. It means they're not singled out. But Australia has always been different from that. We take a values-based approach to foreign policy, and with our partners, the United States and Britain, our closest strategic allies, we try to act according to some principle. And ever since the foundation of Israel, we've had a bipartisan position that a two-state solution is preferred, but it can only come about with the the successful negotiation between the two parties. What Labor has done now, and this is intensely irresponsible, is divide Australia along partisan religious lines. So almost all the Muslims are anti-Israel. Most of them are not very fanatical about the issue. Iranian Muslims, Horn of African Muslims, Turkish Muslims are much less upset about this issue than Arab and North African Muslims. But in any event, they're all anti-Israel. Most of them are anti-Israel. There's 100,000 Jews. So there are more votes in the Muslim corner than in the Jewish corner. And the Albanese government has now scorched a line of sectarian division right down the middle of Australia because they've taken the Muslim position against the Jewish position. They would say they're against confessional politics, but that's what they've effectively done. Labor now sides with the Muslim community. The coalition now sides with the Jewish community. This is a despicable, terrible, destructive path for Australia to walk down. And we walk down it for one reason only, the Albanese government's tawdry calculation about voter politics. And I'd say, Andrew, it's not even appeasing the 800,000 or more Muslims. It's appeasing potential Greens voters in the inner city seats, the same kind of people who voted for the voice of Gaza in the British Council elections, the dopey, ahistorical, uneducated university students and graduates, I say uneducated and graduates in the one sentence quite advisedly, who might vote against Labor because the Greens are more anti-Israel. But if that's Labor's rationale, it's pathetic.
Just speaking of Wong, before I go, I need to ask you about this, Greg. It's now 9 days since China attacked one of our Navy's Seahawk helicopters in international waters, dropping flares above it and in front of it, endangering our airmen. In those 9 days since, Penny Wong has not said one single word in public about China's attack, not a word of criticism. She encourages Hamas, all right, says nothing about China. Can you explain that for us?
Well, it is a striking contrast that you draw, Andrew. I don't myself personalise it to Wong. These are government decisions, cabinet decisions. Now, as I understand it, the government has decided to let defence take the lead in this Chinese matter. But this is, again, a measure of weakness because defence takes the lead by having most of the dialogue in private amongst defence officials. So Albanese made a statement, Marles made a statement, and that's it. We've called ambassadors in from other countries for matters far less important than this, far less important than this. But here is the Chinese military intentionally endangering the lives of Australian servicemen and women, who are acting in pursuit of United Nations sanctions resolutions with the full authority of the Australian government in international waters. They are endangered by the aggressive actions of the Chinese military, and our Foreign Minister doesn't even call in the Chinese ambassador to issue a formal démarche. Now, this is a government-wide decision, but again, it is a pathetic, reactive line of least resistance. You know, we are mice and we're going to behave like mice kind of action. And I tell you what, if the courage of the Albanese government stood between you and misfortune, you'd want to say your prayers.
Greg Sheridan, thank you so much for your time. I have to say, this has been absolutely a shameful, one of the most shameful episodes in Australian foreign policy. Unbelievable.